A like and a comment go a long way in supporting news stories. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thank you. She looked me dead in the eye and said it like it was nothing. Ryan doesn't go anywhere without my permission. Right, girls? They laughed. That soft little laugh women do when they think they've got you on a leash. I wasn't even mad. I just stood there, quiet. Something in me shut off. Click, like a breaker going down. And I knew. This time it's done. I'm Ryan, 44. I drive a city bus in Louisville, Kentucky. Been doing it 12 years now. Same route, same streets, same damn potholes. I could do it with my eyes closed. Mornings start with black coffee in a chipped mug, lunch packed in foil, boots on by 5. By the time most people are waking up, I'm already halfway across the city, dodging traffic and trying not to hit some guy on a scooter who thinks red lights are just suggestions. I've seen it all through that windshield. Kids sneaking on through the back door. Old ladies counting pennies for the fare. Couples screaming, then 5 minutes later making up like nothing happened. Every day I drove that loop and came home to one woman, Melissa, my wife. Or, I guess, the woman I used to matter to. We met back in college. Community, nothing fancy. I was in the auto tech program. She was studying early childhood education. She had this loud laugh, in a good way, sharp, confident, full of life. She'd crack jokes at her own expense, pull people into conversations, act like the whole room was hers. I liked that. She made things feel less heavy. We moved in fast. Married faster. 2 kids, 1 dog, 1 house. Small place out near Valley Station. Brick front, chain link fence, porch light that always flickered no matter how many times I fixed it. But it was ours. I thought we were building something solid. At first, she worked at a preschool, then started tutoring kids from home. She was good at it. Smart, structured, always 3 steps ahead. Meanwhile, I kept driving that bus. Steady paycheck, benefits, something real. It wasn't glamorous, but it kept food on the table. I don't know exactly when it changed. Not all at once. Little things, man. First it was comments about how I folded laundry wrong. Then how I never remembered appointments. Then the money. You're not good with bills, Ryan. Just let me handle it. You forgot the electric payment again. How hard is it to set a reminder? Stick to your bus route. I'll handle the important stuff. That one stung. I'm not some idiot. I may not have a degree with a frame on the wall, but I know how to work, how to show up, how to carry my weight. But I let it slide. Because that's what you do when you're trying to keep peace. You think, all right, maybe she's just stressed. Kids, the house, her job. Maybe I'm not doing enough. So I start doing more. Dishes, yard work, groceries. But somehow, every effort turns into another reason I'm not enough. And the intimacy? Gone. We hadn't touched each other in years. Every time I got close, she pulled away. I'm tired. My back. You smell like the bus. At some point, I just stopped trying. I'd lie there next to her, arms to myself, staring at the ceiling like I was in a waiting room that never called my name. You know how that feels? Sharing a bed with someone who acts like you're not even there? I'd get up early, make breakfast, go to work, come back, eat in silence. Repeat. Like clockwork. I felt like a background character in my own house. Then one day, I bumped into her brother Tom. We hadn't talked in a while, busy lives and all that. We grabbed a couple beers at a bar near his shop. Casual, nothing serious. But a few drinks in, he looks at me and says, "Man, I don't know how you do it. She talks to you like you're some hired help. No respect. You just take it." I shrugged, tried to laugh it off. Said something like, "It's not that bad." But that line stuck. No respect. And then came the fishing trip. Mitch and Darren, old garage buddies from way back. We hadn't hung out in years. They called me up, said they were heading out to Rough River for a weekend. Beer, fire pit, lines in the water. Just us, no stress. I lit up, cleaned off the rods, packed the cooler, even found my old tackle box from the garage. I told Melissa a few days before. She didn't say much. Just a flat, "We'll see." That Friday night, I slept with a smile. First time in months. I felt like I had something to look forward to again. Like a piece of me was waking up. But in the morning, the rods were gone. Cooler, gone. Tackle box? Disappeared. I went to the kitchen. She was there. Calm. Coffee in hand like it was just any other morning. "I told your friends you're not going," she said. I blinked. "What?" "We've got stuff to do this weekend. You said you'd help in the garage." I said maybe. She sipped her coffee. No reaction. Then she added, "And this part is burned into my head." She added, "Ryan doesn't go anywhere without my permission. Right, girls?" Because right then, her little wine club friends walked into the kitchen. All of them dressed up for brunch or whatever. And they laughed. Quiet, smug, nasty little laughs. That was it. Not a scream. Not a fight. Just silence. I looked at her, and I swear it was like something inside me shut off. I didn't say a word. Just turned around and walked out. And from that day forward, I wasn't playing along anymore. I didn't tell her anything that day. No speech, no fight, no door slamming. Just silence. That heavy, deliberate kind. She noticed. Of course she noticed. Women like her always notice when the thing they control stops reacting. The next few days were quiet, but not peaceful. You know that kind of quiet where every small sound feels louder than it should? That's how the house felt. Her eyes followed me everywhere, trying to read something, anything. I came home, took off my boots, made a sandwich, sat down on the couch, and didn't say a word. She stood in the kitchen pretending not to care, but her head kept turning. She was waiting for me to ask if she needed anything. I didn't. On Monday, I skipped dinner. Not because I wanted to start a fight. I just wasn't hungry. That alone rattled her. Next day, I didn't take the trash out right away. The bag sat by the back door until I felt like moving it. Little things. Nothing explosive. Just absence. She started testing the waters. First it was, "Did you forget to mow the lawn again?" I didn't answer. Then, "You left your boots on the mat." That's disgusting. I kept eating my sandwich. She hated that more than if I'd yelled. Because yelling means you still care. Silence. That scares people like Melissa. A few days later, she handed me a piece of paper. A full page. Bullet points. Here's what needs to be done this week. Grocery list, garage shelves, that drawer in the hallway. I took it, looked her in the eye, then tore it in half. Right down the middle. "You forgot who the man in this house is," I said. "So let me remind you. It's not you." I dropped the paper on the floor and walked into the garage. No shouting. No drama. Just facts. I started doing what I wanted when I wanted. Ate what I felt like. Came home when I damn well pleased. She'd start talking. I'd look through her. Not past her, through. Like she wasn't even there. One night, she tried to turn the tables. "You know, you're being childish." I smiled. First smile in weeks. "No, Melissa. I'm just not being your little project anymore." She didn't know what to do with that. Then came Saturday. The plan was to leave early. I told the guys I'd meet them at the lake just after sunrise. But when I woke up, my gear was gone. Rods, tackle box, cooler, vanished. I walked into the kitchen, and there she was, pouring herself coffee like it was just any other morning. "I told your friends you're not going," she said, not even looking at me. "We've got stuff to do here. You said you'd help me in the garage." I stared at her. "I didn't say that." She shrugged. "Well, I told them you weren't coming." No apology. No hesitation. Just matter of fact, like she'd decided for both of us. And that was it. That was the moment. No big explosion. No grand drama. Just a switch. Click. I didn't go fishing. I didn't fight. I didn't slam anything. I just stood there, nodded once, turned around, and walked out of the kitchen. That night, I didn't speak to her. Next day, same. But my mind was already somewhere else. Planning. Thinking. Lining it all up. For days later, I came home from work. Walked into the house, sat down on the couch, turned off the TV she was watching, and looked her dead in the face. "Pack your things," I said, "and leave your keys on the table when you're done." She blinked. Thought it was a joke. "Excuse me. You heard me. You don't live here anymore. That ends now." She stood up, arms crossed. "You can't just tell me to leave. This is my house too." "No," I said. "It was our house. Then you turned it into a place I wasn't allowed to breathe. So now it's mine. And I'm telling you to go." She laughed. Nervous. Sharp. "You're being ridiculous." "No, I'm being clear. If you're still here in an hour, I'll start carrying your crap out myself." She didn't move. Just stood there, stunned, trying to find the old rhythm. The one where she said something cutting and I flinched. But it didn't work. That rhythm was dead. Eventually, she turned and stormed off. Slammed the bedroom door like it made a difference. 30 minutes later, she came out with 2 bags and a tote full of whatever nonsense she considered essential. She was muttering under her breath, trying to bait me into reacting. I didn't. She stopped by the door. "This is how you're ending it." "No, Melissa," I said. "This is how you ended it. I'm just cleaning up." She stood there another second like she wanted to throw one last punch. Maybe a memory, maybe guilt. But I just pointed at the table. "Keys." She dropped them. Hard. Then she walked out. I waited until the sound of her SUV disappeared down the street, then exhaled for the first time in months. Sat down in that recliner she used to mock. Opened a beer. Turned on the game. The house was quiet. But not dead. It was mine again. 2 days later, I was sitting in a boat with Mitch. We didn't catch a damn thing. Didn't even matter. I just leaned back, looked up at the sky, and for the first time in a long time, I felt okay. "You all right?" Mitch asked. I nodded. "Getting there." He laughed. "Took you long enough." First week after she left was weird. Not hard, just quiet. Too quiet, maybe. Like the house was holding its breath. No sharp footsteps on the hardwood. No dishwasher running on a timer she insisted on setting. No to-do list stuck to the fridge. Just silence. and the hum of the old ceiling fan. I started moving different. Woke up when I wanted. Usually still early, force of habit, but with no one watching. No side eyes over the coffee filter, no commentary about the shirt I picked. Just me. I'd leave dishes in the sink if I felt like it. Put my feet up on the coffee table. Watch reruns of shows she used to hate. It wasn't rebellion. It was recovery. I didn't throw a party. Didn't do some wild, I'm free crap. I just reclaimed the space. Piece by piece. Started with the garage. Threw out 3 bins of her old boxes she never touched but refused to get rid of. Then cleared out the closet. Half empty now, looked like a hotel room. And for once, it felt bigger. Lighter. She texted 3 days after she left. Let me know when I can pick up the rest of my stuff. I waited a full day before replying. Sunday. Noon. That was it. No smiley face. No, hope you're doing okay. Just the facts. She showed up late. Of course. Pulled in at 12:25. That silver SUV she always bragged about, safest in its class, or some crap. She stepped out wearing sunglasses, hair done, lips painted, like she wanted to look unbothered. But I could see it. That twitch in her jaw, the way she scanned the house. Like maybe she thought I'd be crying on the couch, or begging her to come back. She walked in without asking. Didn't even knock. I stood in the kitchen, arms crossed. Said nothing. She looked around. Place feels empty. I shrugged. Feels better. She flinched. Just a little. Kept walking like she didn't hear it. Packed in silence for a while. I leaned against the counter, watching the clock. She kept glancing at me like she was waiting for me to say something, start a fight, ask questions, maybe even apologize. Instead, I handed her a taped-up box and said, "That's all from the garage. Your books, your stuff from the shelves, whatever that yoga crap was." She paused. "You didn't have to throw my things around like trash." I didn't. That box has more respect than you gave me the last 2 years. She looked at me. Eyes narrowed. "You're acting like I'm some monster." "No," I said calmly. "I'm acting like a man who finally sees things for what they are." She put the box down. Hard. Crossed her arms. "So that's it. You're just gonna erase everything." "Melissa, I didn't erase anything. You did that yourself." I just stopped pretending it was working. Her mouth opened, closed. No words. For a second, I thought she'd crack, cry, beg, something. But no. She picked up the last bag and headed toward the door. Then she stopped. Right at the frame. "You know, I thought you were stronger." That one almost made me laugh. "I am. That's why you're leaving and not coming back." She didn't respond. Just walked out. No door slam. No dramatic pause. Just gone. Weeks passed. I got into a rhythm. Bus route, gym after work, cooking for one. Turns out I still remember how to make real food. Steak, eggs, grilled cheese, chili on cold days. Simple stuff. Tastes better when no one's complaining. I started talking more with Mitch and Darren again. We'd hang out on Saturdays, shoot the shit, drink beer in folding chairs like we were 20 again. They asked a few times how I was holding up. I told them the truth. I wasn't miserable. Not anymore. Funny how fast your body adjusts when your brain stops walking on eggshells. One night, I was out grabbing a 6-pack at the corner store, and I saw her. Melissa, standing by the frozen aisle, holding a pint of that overpriced vegan ice cream she used to say was her treat. She didn't see me at first. She looked tired, worn, like someone unplugged her charger and she'd been running on 5% battery for weeks. Then she looked up and froze. "Ryan," she said soft, like she forgot how my name sounded in her mouth. I nodded. "Melissa." We stood there in silence for a beat too long. "You look good," she said. "I feel good." More silence. "I didn't expect to see you here," she added. "It's a grocery store, not the moon." She gave a tight smile. "Right." She fidgeted with the lid on the ice cream, then said, "I've been meaning to say, I didn't mean to make you feel small. That wasn't. I mean, I didn't realize how far things had gone." I stayed quiet. Let her talk. I just got so caught up in, I don't know, keeping things together. I guess I forgot how to actually be with someone. Finally, I spoke. Calm. Measured. "I was there, Melissa. Every day. All I ever wanted was to feel like I mattered in my own house. You made sure I didn't." She looked down. "I think about it a lot," she said. "I don't," I replied. She flinched again. That hit harder than anything else. "I guess I just hoped maybe one day." I cut her off. "There's no day, Melissa. That was then. This is now. And now, I'm good." She swallowed. Nodded slowly. "I should go." "Yeah, you should." She turned. Walked away without saying goodbye. And just like that, the chapter closed for good. The months that followed were simple. And I mean that in the best way possible. I'd wake up to silence, but not the kind that made you feel invisible. Just peace. Stillness. Coffee tasted better. Mornings moved slower. I stopped checking the clock so much. Started walking to the corner diner before shifts, grabbing eggs, bacon, sometimes pancakes if I felt like treating myself. Nobody was standing in the doorway judging my shirt or reminding me how late I was. I ate what I wanted, drank what I liked, sat where I felt comfortable. I started using the good plates, the ones Melissa always said were only for guests. Turns out, I like real ceramic. I rearranged the living room one weekend, moved the recliner by the window so I could sit with sunlight on my face after work, put up a shelf in the garage, not because I was told to, but because I wanted to finally clean up the mess on my own terms. Tossed out 6 boxes of crap she hoarded for no reason. Candles, decorations, papers from jobs she hadn't worked in years. She texted once more. A month after that grocery store run-in, I found some old pictures. From college. Want me to drop them off? I didn't respond. Some things don't need answers. I hung out with Mitch and Darren Moore. One night they came over, brought lawn chairs and an old Bluetooth speaker that barely worked. We sat out back till midnight, talking about nothing. Football, work, some idiot at Darren's office who clogged the break room sink with ramen noodles. Dumb stuff, but real. Easy. At one point, Darren looked over at me and said, "Man, you seem lighter. You smile now. Not like before, that fake polite thing. But for real." And he wasn't wrong. I hadn't noticed it until then, but I wasn't carrying that constant tension anymore. I wasn't walking around like I owed someone an explanation for breathing. I didn't dread going home. I didn't feel like a guest in my own life. A few weeks later, I started fixing up my old motorcycle. Thing hadn't run since before the kids were born. Melissa used to call it a dangerous toy for men with something to prove. She never let me ride it. Now it was mine again. I spent Sundays in the driveway, engine grease on my hands, beer sweating on the concrete beside me. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty for enjoying something. That's when I met her. Her name was Claire. She lived 4 houses down, worked nights as a nurse, and happened to walk by while I was trying to muscle the engine cover off the bike. "You look like you're losing that fight," she said, smirking. I looked up, grinned. "Nah, I just like to give it a head start." We talked a little that first day, just neighbor talk. But she came by the next week with a socket wrench she said I might need. I didn't, but I took it anyway. She didn't ask questions, didn't poke, just offered help, asked about the bike, and gave me space. Over the next month, we talked more. Sometimes in my driveway, sometimes over coffee when she got off her shift. She had a dry sense of humor and this way of making you feel seen without pressing. One night, after she brought over soup because she heard I had a cold, she looked at me and said, "You're easy to be around." That's rare. I didn't know how to respond to that. Not because it was too much, but because I'd forgotten what it felt like to be appreciated without a punchline attached. We weren't rushing anything. No grand romance, no declarations. But she checked in. She laughed at my jokes. She never made me feel like I was in the way. Sometimes we'd sit on my porch with a beer each, talking about nothing, and I'd look over and think, this feels good. This feels right. I'm not saying everything's perfect. I still get home tired. Still have bad days. Still burn the damn grilled cheese if I'm not paying attention. But now, if something goes wrong, it's my mistake. And if something goes right, it's my win. That's more than I had before. One night, months after everything, I found a note in one of the old kitchen drawers. It was a sticky note, yellow, faded, probably from years ago. Melissa's handwriting. It said, "Pick up milk, and don't forget you're not useless, okay?" I don't know if that was sarcasm or some twisted version of affection. Doesn't matter. I crumpled it, tossed it in the trash, and took the bag out right after. One more thing I didn't need cluttering up my space. People ask me sometimes if I miss her. If I'd ever consider going back. No, not even for a second. Because once you learn what peace feels like, you don't trade it for comfort. Or history. Or guilt. And maybe that's what this story's really about. Not about her. Not about what she said or did. But about what I let slide. For too long. And what I finally did about it. I didn't burn the house down. Didn't scream. Didn't beg. Didn't break. I just stood still. Quiet. Firm. And that was enough. So yeah, that's it. That's how I kicked my wife out on a Saturday afternoon and took my life back. Quietly. Without a scene. Without fists or shouting. Just a man deciding he'd had enough. You tell me. Did I go too far? Or was it about damn time? Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading.